Okay, so in today's video I'm going to show you how you can build an AI SaaS from start to finish without knowing how to code. This is going to be the end result that you're going to end up with, and we're going to start from the very beginning so you can follow step by step exactly what I'm doing here, and by the end of it you will have a completely functionable SaaS that you can deploy and sell to users. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first step that you need to do is define what the use case of this SaaS will be. And in this case, we're going to build something that pretty much automates the creation of hooks. Hooks is what catches you in. So we're going to be building a SaaS that automates the creation of hooks. For example, LinkedIn hooks or Twitter hooks that you can use for people that are trying to market. So this is the first step, defining what the use case of your SaaS will be. It can be something to build YouTube scripts, it can be something to build email campaigns, it can be something to scrape leads, it can be anything, but you first need to define it. So go ahead and define what you want to build, and then we're going to move on to next step. Okay, the platform that you're going to be using in order to build this, what you're going to be building is the intelligence system, which is something that looks a bit like this. I can show you another one, more complex one. These are all SaaSes that I've built and sold successfully. For example, this is another one. Yeah, the app that you're going to be using is Stack AI, which I will leave a link in the description. It will be the top link in the description that you can use. As you'll see, you're gonna go to pricing, and you have 3 tiers. Let's say you don't want to go for free, and you don't want to go for team. You don't want to go for free because it doesn't allow data loaders, which is basically databases. Data loaders is this, which is what we are going to be using. You don't want to go for, where am I? I've lost myself. You don't want to go for team because, yeah, one, it's very expensive, and the only difference between starter and team, it's basically starter allows you to have 3 projects at a time, team allows you to have 30 projects at a time. This is when you are scaling up, then you'll move on to team. But for this one, the starter one works fine. You have a 7-day free trial, so you don't have to pay up front. Yeah, go with the starter one, and you can use the link in my description because, yeah, you helped me and I'm helping you. So yeah, so this first step. Next, we're gonna clean this up, and we're gonna say, okay, so this is what we are doing. We are automating the creation of hooks. First variable that you need to be testing for is which large language model to use. You'll most likely be using one of the two, either Anthropic, which is Claude.ai, or OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. And how you test this is simple. You're going to put the 2 strongest versions of each one, the models, which is Claude 3 and Claude and GPT-4 32K, and you're going to test them side by side with the same prompt. So this will look something like this. This is the input that the user will paste in, and this will be the output that it will have. And in the middle you will have an LLM, which is basically like you are going to ChatGPT and asking it to do a task for you. But here we are automating it in the background, so 1, no one will have access to your prompts, so you become more valuable, and 2, this becomes automatic at scale, like this. And instead of a user having to paste all of this input, all of these prompts and all of these databases, he just pastes the input and he gets this. Oops. This. So yeah, this is exactly how you test it. So you're gonna have the same input, you're gonna connect input to one LLM and an input to another LLM. You're gonna connect the top one to an output, and you're going to connect the bottom one to another output, so we can test them side by side. Basically, the input will be the same, the prompt will be the same, and the model and large language model will be different because this is what we are testing for. As you can see here, if you have the same prompt with a different database, which we'll get to in a bit, you are testing for database to see which database works best. If you have the same database plus a different model, so for example you are testing Claude 3 versus Claude 2, you will be testing for the model. If you have the same model, so for example Claude 3 and GPT-4, which are the strongest ones, but different LLMs, like we are going to do here, you are testing for which LLM will work. So is it Claude or GPT that I should be using for this one? And how we are going to do this is simple. So we are going to prompt it very simply like this. You are an AI assistant. Your job is to create hooks for the input that I provide you with. The hook must be a scroll stopper. The hook must be concise and short. The hook must create intrigue. And you're gonna paste this the same here. And now a tip that I can give you, for basically you have instruction, which is telling it what's the role of the large language model. You have the prompt. The prompt, because this is very simple, we are not yet testing for the prompt, we will test in a bit, so just use this, and we will have no document for now, so just do this. So to recap, two different models, we are testing for which model we are going to use. Same instructions, same prompts. And now for the input, I'm doing a post about the top 5 mistakes I see AI automation agencies making. And now what's going to happen is this input will be sent to here, and we will get two outputs. In order to test this, you're going to press run. Let me do another one. I'm gonna make it a 3-sentence hook, because one sentence only cannot be tested. You're gonna run again. Okay, we're gonna go, I already know this, but we're gonna go with Claude, so we can remove this, because this is what we are gonna go with. Now we are ready to move on to next step. Okay, the next step will be one of the most important ones, which is the database that we will use, because basically this is the, let's say, the most effective way of you building an application is having a prompt that goes to a document and gives you the output. And this is what we're going to be doing here. So first of all, you're going to want to link this here, and you're going to want to add here doc. So it will basically, okay, go to doc, see here, and use user message. You have two different types of docs. So you have documents itself and documents plus search. For use cases like this, which is copy related, you always want to have doc. If you are building a chatbot, which you need the chatbot to go look up the correct answer in a big knowledge base, you would want to use document plus search. But for this use case, you just want to use documents. Have a spider on the wall. That's the sign of money. But yeah, so you're gonna want to link this here. Never forget to link this. This is very easy, because like if it's not linked, you're gonna see this here. Every time you see yellow, okay, just need to link this here. And now you'll have two types of databases that you can build in this case. Can I write here? You can have one database with examples. You can have another database on how to actually write a hook. Now I'm going to show you the knowledge bases that I'm going to be using for this. Okay, so this is a database that I created for a client in the past. I'm just going to show you a bit how it looks like, which is basically you want to make it clean. So divide things. So in this case we have hook, structure and example. And I just pasted here, I think 10 examples if I'm not mistaken. This is how your database should look like. Now you might be wondering, oh, what if I don't have examples of it? Very good. Let's say you are building a SaaS to write YouTube scripts. What you'll want to do, I don't know how to write, but what you'll want to do is get YouTube videos, come here, paste it here, shout out to Mr. Daniel. You'll copy the transcript, example 1, you'd clean this up, of course. For example, you can go to GPT, ask it, can you format this correctly? You wait a bit, and then it will give you all of it, and then you just need to copy it, paste it, go get the other video, copy, paste it, format it, until you have this, which is a database with examples of how you want it to perform certain action, correctly identified and formatted. So if you don't have the database yet, stop, pause right now. So pause the video. I don't know how to instruct you to do it. Pause the video, go make your database and come back to this, because if you don't have a database, this won't work. Now, for this specific use case, I have 4 different databases that I want to test. So these are 4 different formats of the end case, in this case hooks. So 4 different types of hooks that I want to test for and see which one works. And in this case, what we will be testing is the same prompt plus same model plus same LLM plus different database. So we're gonna be testing for database. And the way you'll do this is very simple. So this is the flow that we currently have. Input, LLM, output with this document. We're gonna replicate this 3 more times because we have 4 databases. And this is how it's gonna look like. So we're gonna have this here, this here. Let me put this here, organization. And this is going to be the document for this, document for this, document for this. And you can start to see kind of the power of it, because like you could run it. I've run this. I have one SaaS that has 4 different LLMs running at the same time for one specific use case. For example, where is mine? For example, this one, you see it has 3 different databases. And what you'll want to do is firstly connect all of them. And you're gonna want to add outputs to each of these. You'll connect each LLM to an output. And you're gonna, like we talked about, use the same prompt. Now, I did this on purpose to show you how easy it is, which is the system tells you what you are missing. In this case, the doc is incorrect, so it's doc 3. Here it's doc 2, and here it's doc 1. And now you see node in 0, which is input 0 used but not connected. So what are we missing? Connecting the input to this. As you can see, now it looks clean. So we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this. And now I'm gonna give you a little tip. which is first you want to go here and you want to up the chunk length to 3800. I like the number, but yeah, you want to put it as close to the top as possible without going to it, and chunk overlap as well, so 2000. Don't forget to do it for all of them. So we're gonna do this really quick, and we can put this, don't have to be exactly the same. One step at a time, never forget. Right now we are testing for databases. There might be a case where you're going to use several databases, depending on the use case. So this is something, don't forget, document chunk overlaps. And now another thing, because you have two different types of builds that you can do, and I'll show you another one in a second. But in this case, where basically the large language model doesn't need to remember anything from the last conversation, so it's just an input goes to a large language model, goes to a knowledge base and gives you the output. It doesn't need to remember, for example, what was said in the last one. You're gonna want to go here, settings, and turn memory off, and you're gonna want to do this for all of them. Okay, and now you're gonna press run, and this is gonna be the first test for databases. We're gonna wait a bit. You can see this takes about 25 seconds to run. Supposedly this one will run first. There we go. Then let me try to guess this one, this one, this one. It's not rocket science. Oh, actually I was wrong. We're gonna wait a bit. Then we're gonna look at the outputs. Then we're gonna do more testing. I'm gonna show you a way. Actually, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna open it right now. I'm gonna teach you a bit about chemistry in just a bit. Yeah, okay. So we have all of this. Now this is where it comes, and like, I shouldn't need to say this, but you might be asking, oh, but how do I know which one is the best? You can't create a system for something that you don't know how to do manually. So you actually need to know, for example, how a good hook looks like in order to create a SaaS for a good hook. I like this one, so we're gonna keep this one. I like this one. I don't like this one, so we can remove it. Let's remove this one as well, so we have only two. And let's clean it up a bit. Like this, like this. Now let's do it like this. Organization is key here, gentlemen and ladies as well. Okay, so now what do we have here? We haven't tested instructions nor prompts. Prompts will be this one always, but we haven't tested instructions. We have tested databases, we have tested the model, and we have tested the large language model. So we are ready to move on to the next step. It's gonna be a chemistry little class. I don't know if you ever had chemistry. In my country, Portugal, I had chemistry. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a lesson on how you test for, let's say, equations. So you have two sides of an equation. Give me a black. Why can't I write it? The fuck? Oh. Which is divided by this. You have the consequent of the equation. In this case it will be the output. And here you have the ingredients, which is every single variable that you are, let's say, putting into the... what example can I give you? I don't know how you call it. Let's say into the funnel in order to then get an output. For example, when you go cook, you have pasta, you have salt, you have pepper, you have water, you have tomato sauce, and then you have the output, which is a spaghetti bolognese. I think that's how you say it. And in this case, let's imagine, for example, one like this, a simple equation plus H2O plus O2. And now we're gonna break this equation down so I can explain to you what this means. Let me just make this a little bit more beautiful. Okay, so you have these three parts, these three ingredients to result in an output. And we'll call this the prompts. Why doesn't this work? Prompts. Fuck. Prompts plus instructions. This will be the databases, and this will be all the rest. So this is input, details, structure, memory, and flow. In order to get a different output, let's go get this. In order to get a different output, what you need to be changing and testing is this, the ingredients. So for example, different prompt, different instructions. So instead of 4MO, you do, for example, 3MO. Instead of H2O, you could do H3O, which isn't something that exists in chemistry. But this is the only thing that you need to be looking at in order to change the output. It will either be the prompts that you need to change, the database, or the rest. So the input that you are giving, for example, you might need to give more detail, might be the details. When I say details, it's these little things that we did. So turning the memory off, doing the chunk overlaps, all of that. The structure of it, because for example, you could have, I'm gonna give you a little Stack AI class as well. I should be getting paid for this. I'm gonna make a submission to Harvard so I can start giving classes then there. You can have a flow which is basically like this. You connect an input to a large language model, and before, what we are doing is this large language model goes to an output. So this is our normal flow. But you can connect this first large language model to another large language model that then connects to another output. That then, for example, connects to an OpenAI database, large language model, not database. It connects to a different output. So for example, this could be something like input. This is what I do. First input. Now, better for me to show you. This is an intelligence system, let's say, that I built, that basically takes a YouTube video and creates a shit ton of content based on it. But it goes step by step. So for example, the first step of it is to provide a summary of the transcript. Here's the summary of the transcript. The second step will be to give me the top 10 relevant points. Here we have the top 10 relevant points. Then from this, we do headlines and actionable steps, so we can create LinkedIn carousels. From here, I don't even know which output it is. It creates Twitter threads, and then it creates hooks, then it's going to create a YouTube script, then it's going to create an email, so on and so on. But the only way this works is if I connect a large language model to one another, so it can take this information and pass it to here, because you cannot connect an output to another large language model. So for example, let's go back to Paint and let's do a new one. Ideally, you'd be able to do this: input, large language model, output to another large language model, to another output, to another large language model, so on, so on. But you can't. So what you need to do is you put output here on top, large language model, output, large language model, output, so that this can pass to here, can pass to here, can pass to here, can pass to here. And this, in these types of builds, as you can see, we have memory on, because we need the large language model, the system, let's say, to remember what was written here, so it can use it here and it can use it here. And as you can see here, for example, here I have Claude 2.1, here I have Claude 1. Why? Because Claude 1 pretty much doesn't have a limit of tokens. And what happens is I wasn't able to paste a 1 hour video in with Claude 2.1 because it was too big, so the system wouldn't run. And I think I can try to show you. If I remove this, this, and this, and this, and this, supposedly it won't run because it's too big. Now let me go get another video. For example, what's the biggest video I can use? Naval.
Delegation is delegate the people who are.
Supposedly this will not work. Let's see if it works or if it doesn't. Yeah. Run. Output 4 has no node. As you can see, it's a very easy platform to play with because it gives you exactly the errors that you are making. But yeah, like you see, prompt is too long, so it doesn't work. But if you come here and you put Claude 1 and you run it, it should work. But let's see. Prompt is too long still. What about with Claude 3? Have to test it. Sometimes it wouldn't work. It won't work with massive inputs. Okay, so in this case, none of it will work because this is a 3 hour and 35 minute video. Yeah, let's get back to what we were doing here, which is basically figuring out the different types of flows and structures that you're gonna have according to our paint. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I do this. I'm literally giving you the whole playbook here, but it's okay with me because I know you won't be able to do this. Haha. But yeah, if you are liking it so far, please leave a like down below. But yeah, this is how I build it in my mind. So I first try to build it the flow like we just did, and then I map it out by paper so I can have it pretty much clear on my mind what I need to do. So in this case, for ICP SaaS that I'm building, this is the flow that I'm going with. So an input will go to a large language model 1, which will do the first step, which is the pain points of an ICP. This will give us output 1. This will then be sent to large language model 2, and it will give us output 2. This will be for, I don't know what's written here. Then it will go to 3, which is the first scenario, 4, second scenario, third scenario, fourth scenario, fifth scenario, and then it goes to a large language model 8, which is meeting 1, which is another different scenario. I'm going to show you this in a video probably 3 videos from now, because I still got a lot of things to teach you on. But yeah, then it goes to this where it starts creating headlines. Then here it starts creating leads for this ICP, and then it creates an email. This is missing a lot, because for example, headlines are going to be 2 large language models, and emails are going to be 5 large language models. So we are missing 4 plus 1, we are missing 5 here. This is going to be 16 large language models in total, and it will take about 2 minutes and a half to run. For example, for a YouTube product, I shouldn't share this, but it's a different flow, which is input large language model, output, input large language model, output, input large language model, output. So for example, input 1 doesn't need output 0 in order to perform output 1, but you can see it's connected here. Why is it connected? If you ask that question, that's a good question. So that we can link all of these large language models and put it in an output 8, which is going to be the full script. But yeah, this some high level shit, you probably won't understand it, but yeah, let's get back to our build. Let's clean this up. Let's go to the next step, because now we actually have to make this good. Okay. First of all, we're gonna put here that your job is to create 5 hooks. Is to create 5 hooks. And now I just noted the input here isn't good. Wasn't the same. Now we're gonna see how it looks with 5 hooks. Testing each variable at a time. Remember the chemistry equation that I showed you. That's the most important equation that you will ever see in your life. Wait a bit. Nice. So the outputs are good, but what do we need here? We need to format them. And now this doesn't always work, but we're gonna try this, which is we're gonna put here a 5. You always want to put it like this. So on instructions, the role, and then divide. This is basically rules, and we're gonna put 5. It's gonna be format each output. No, separate each output in a new line, and label, not label, like number the outputs so it's easy to look at. We're gonna test it. I'm gonna let this run before I move on to the next step. Should pause this, but if I have to go through it, you'll go through it as well, because you aren't better than me and I am not better than you, so we'll both go through it together. Okay, now you can see it's properly formatted. This is good. And now we're gonna move on to next step, because this is where you build, but this is not where your client, so the person that will pay you for it, will use it. They will use it in this next step. So you're gonna want to go to publish, wait a bit, export, and then you have a couple of different ones. This is a chatbot, I can show you. Simple chatbot. This is not what we want. For this one, we want form. I'm not gonna explain what all of these are. I guess you're gonna have to subscribe and wait for the next video. But yeah, you're gonna want to go to general, give it a name, so hooks. This application creates hooks our inputs. You're gonna protect it with a password. Which one is it? And then this is very important. We put myself in the middle. This needs to be checked, and these two outputs need to be checked. Then you're gonna go to export, and you're gonna open it. Why am I here? And this is where your client, if you deliver them the solution on stack, which you can do, which is what I currently do, but I'm gonna show you as well another option for deployment at the end of this video. But if you're gonna deploy them to stack, this is where your user will come. They will go here, they will sign in. What the fuck? What's the password? Technical difficulties. It's going to be taken here to a very clean overlay. And for the sake of testing, which one am I? I'm gonna use the same input, because like, oops, I have it here, which is testing on build / testing on export, because you're gonna see the outputs are a little bit different. You want to test on both here and here, but this is the most important part where you will test, because this is where your client will use it, but it's faster and easier to test here. So you first test here until you get good outputs, and then you start testing here. And how you use it is very simple. You paste the input, you press submit, and you wait. And then it's going to give you this. Here you go. So this is already very good. But now you could start playing with it, which is one hook. Your job is to create one hook. And you can multiply this, because, let me put this big. I don't know how this works, but pretty much if you ask a machine, a large language model, to give you 5 outputs instead of 1, the outputs will be 7 out of 10, let's say. But if you ask just for one output, it will give its best to give you the best output possible. So the output will be 8 out of 10 instead of 7 out of 10. So what we'll want to do is get as many 8 out of 10 outputs instead of 7 out of 10 outputs. And how we're gonna do this, you might ask. First, how do you think we will do this? That's not correct. That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. You're basically gonna replicate large language models. For example, you're gonna put 4 over here. You're gonna put 4 over here. You're gonna get this here. Let's start building something proper. Don't forget, turn memory off. And now we're gonna connect all of this. Then we're gonna zoom out to see how it looks. I can give you that as an advice, which is, if there's something going on in your life that you don't like, for example, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like the individual that you see, or if you open up your bank account and you don't like the number you see there, zoom out. Because if you zoom out, things look good. output, 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 output. Now this one is gonna go here. This one is gonna go here. So this will be 8 hooks in total. This one is gonna go here. This one is gonna go here, here, and this should be the system, right? Now there's something missing. Yeah, which is this one. It's here. Make sure everything is properly connected. So this is what we currently have. We have, this looks complex. Like if you skip to this part, you're like, wow, what the fuck is this? Very simple. The same prompt for all of this, the same input, 2 different databases, but replicating it across 2 large language models. So let's say this is database 1, which we will need to connect. Like this. And now we are gonna connect this, 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 and now we are gonna paste the prompt because the prompt needs to be the same. So copy paste, copy. This is why it's easy to first nail it on one and then you replicate to another. And then, yeah, let me write to show you in a bit. GPT versus Claude with the same database. That's what we're gonna do next, because now I'm just gonna show you a bunch of troubleshooting. Yeah, that's all. And now, boom, boom, boom. Now this one here. Basically what we are doing here is eliminating all the yellows. Nice. So now we're gonna save. Publish. You're gonna see in just now that you need to go here to general and tick all of this. It always resets, so every time you save and publish you'll need to do this again. So for this, 1, 2, 3, let's test it again. Let me put myself smaller. Top right. I don't like top right. For example, this is not working good. It's not 3 hooks, it's 1 hook. It's not working well. So we've broken the system. This has happened to me like 3 times this last week. I'm not going to show you how to troubleshoot it because it took me a lot of time to figure out, and I don't have all of that time to show you, but this is what I am going to show you. So we're gonna eliminate a bunch of this. What's the main one? It's this one. We're gonna eliminate this, we're gonna eliminate this, 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 this. Let me just see if everything is correct. So output database, exactly so. And what we're gonna test now, because remember before we tested GPT against Claude but without database. So now let's test it with a database, which is basically we're gonna connect this, we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna give me 1 hook. Give missing, so we gotta connect the input, and now we're gonna come open AI, we need an output as well. Uno, dos. Connect the input. And we need to remove memory. See how I almost forgot. And now we're gonna, okay, so output 7 and output 6. Output 7 and 06 is GPT. 000 and 01 Claude. I wanna publish again. Cause like there's no point in testing here now, because this is not where your client is gonna use it. You're gonna go to form. This has one extra output. It's only supposed to be 4 outputs. What am I missing? 1, 2, 3, 4. Something is not right, I believe. Let's see. Now it is. We're gonna go export, open. This is very important, which is nope. You are always testing with the same input. Always the same input. Always. Yeah, now we're gonna see Claude versus GPT. Because GPT might work better. I doubt it. Yeah. Now we have one hook only. Nice. For example, output 7 is good, output 6 isn't. So what could we do? Which one is good? 7. We'd come here and we would remove output 6. And now we're left with this. So 3 different inputs, 2 different databases, same prompts. No, 1 input, 3 outputs, 2 large language models, so GPT and Claude, 2 databases. This would be a final build. Again, we'd go publish, go to export, general, open, oops, form, not chatbot. I mean, let's test it both to see how it works on chatbot. But you're gonna see it's not what we want. Yeah, it's important that you study these different types of deployment. What you're gonna use is, if you use a tool like Bubble, which I'm using at the moment, so to build your platform into, you're gonna want to use this CURL and test API. I'm gonna do a video on this, so how to deploy your stack solutions into Bubble, but not today. For example, this is not good. Export, open. There's an output missing. Yeah, you basically get the point. What is missing here? Let's publish again. You can see that this takes time because you have to test. I want my chemistry equation back. Can we get it back? Nope. Yeah, the key here is that you test one variable at a time. It's like this is how a chemistry equation is done, and you have to think like how did they do it back in the day. They didn't change multiple things at once. They changed one thing at once until they got the desired output. So for example, say you were trying to figure out how to make fire 100 years ago or 200 years ago, and let's say you had a rock and a stick. You'd first try a rock with a stick. If it didn't work, you'd try another rock with the same stick. It didn't work. Okay, now you would try another rock with the same stick. It wouldn't work. Okay, now what would you do? These are the only materials that you have available to you. Let me paint you a diagram. It's easier. As you can see, yeah, my designs are very nice. I can show you some mirrors. You should absolutely be doing Myros, because as you can see, a Myro is the same flow as stack. So if you learn stack or Myro, you will know the other. Let's say you are a caveman. You have 3 rocks. Rock 1, rock 2, rock 3. Stick 1, stick 2, stick 3. And you've seen that in the other camp, let's say, in another country, with the same exact ingredients, someone was able to do fire. How would you start testing this? You'd first try rock 1 with stick 1. Then rock 2 with stick 1. This is called fixed variable, which is you have one variable that you don't change, and you change the other ones. Then you would try rock 3 with stick 1. None of these work. Okay, so now you try rock 1 with stick 2. Then rock 2 with stick 2. Rock 3 with stick 2. None of these work. No problem. Rock 1 with stick 3. Rock 2 with stick 3. Rock 3 with stick 3, always with a fixed variable. So here, this is the fixed variable. Let me put a pink for the ladies watching. How do I put a pink? Fixed variable. Never change this. So in this case, our fixed variable is the inputs, the databases, and the prompts. But the actual fixed variable is the input. And now, where am I? Because I'm not building in this one. I'm building in this one. We're gonna start testing different inputs just to see. So let's make a list of inputs. I'm doing a post about the top 5 tools to automate your business. Doing a post on why you need to create content for your biz. Doing a post on why you need to implement AI. Because this is how your user is going to use. So basically, for example, this would be a part of a demonstration you would do for your SaaS that you could plug in your landing page, which is like, yeah, look, all you need to do is come here, paste your input, and you'll get the outputs. Why? Because why is it bugging? My God, is it because it's too strong? No problem. Let's publish it again. Basically, and I'm saying basically shitloads of times, but I can explain to you why. It's because I've done this so many times that I don't even know what I need to explain, because like this is second nature to me. But pretty much, if we were to recap all of this into 2 minutes, this is the intelligence system. This is all that you need to build in order for your SaaS to work. This is what your users are going to use. And now, whatever input they paste, they will get the output correctly in the desired format and written in the specific way that you want it to be written, regardless of the input that you paste. Why? Because you've built and tested the intelligence system. Because, like, think about it. What is AI? AI is artificial intelligence. It's not artificial automations. AI is intelligence. This is intelligence. Databases, prompts, and large language models. So yeah, come here, different input. Different input. You have a SaaS. Almost, because you need to deploy it. This is automate your entire content creation in 1 minute with our tool. Demo. Try for free. This would be SaaS. Now, let's finish off this video. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna have a glass of water and I'm gonna think of how I want to finish the video, because I've been recording this for 1 hour, so now my brain needs to think for a bit. So see you in a bit. For you it's gonna be 1 second. Okay, we're gonna finish it off here where we started. So yeah, I was thinking I could do the typical outro, which is like, oh, so yeah, that's basically how you build a SaaS in 2024 without knowing how to code. So guys, if you like this video, subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned for the next one. I could do that, which I just did. Or I could do the second version, which is the authentic version, which is like, yeah, this is how I'm building SaaSes, pretty much a SaaS a week. This is how I'm deploying them. So in this format, I'm not going to show you the bubble one in this one because it's too much for you to handle right now. You first need to know how to build them, then you will worry about how to deploy them. The good thing about it is in the next 10 days I will be recording and posting a video on how to do it. The link's in the description. It's going to be, first link is going to be my newsletter, which I specifically write about how you can do this, SaaSes you can build, ideas that I have, because I am only myself. I can only build one SaaS at a time. So what I want to do is create a community, not an audience, a community of people that are building this as well. So you can join that. You'll have a link to Stack, which you will need to do this. And you can hit the subscribe button, you can hit a like, and you can hit a comment. Leave a comment, which will help me out, which will help the channel, and it will motivate me to create more content. Now, I do not need to be motivated because I'm a disciplined individual and I will continue creating this content regardless of it getting good feedback or bad feedback, but I will come here with a different, let's say, state of mind if I know that people are actually looking forward to the next video. So I could be, I don't know if you can see this, but we are currently on 58 minutes. Now, I could be a douchebag and speak until this hits 1 hour, but I want it to be 59 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.